reached out and asked if you had read the indictment. You said you read it word for word, page for page, right?
I did. I keep up. I love Jackson.
Even though they've not been in court and they've not been found guilty, it's just an indictment at this point.
They don't see it. My first statement was, think about your family. Think about your family. Put your family first.
I never thought in a million years we would have been put in the situation that we were in. Never. Because we went through our whole career doing the right thing.
It's utterly ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's special edition of the Othor Cain Show. Glad to have you here on a Monday. It is election eve. Can you believe tomorrow is April 1st? Elections are tomorrow on April Fool's Day. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. We're glad that you're here, though. We thought that we would do a special conversation. We thought that it was important to have a conversation tonight before you go to the polls, and then we'll be able to have an even better conversation after the polls close tomorrow night during our regular programming. As always, we're grateful that you are here. We are appreciative for your support. We're appreciative that you are here. All right. Excited about it. Thank you so much. As always, we appreciate your support. You can always continue to support us at our Cash App and in other ways. So I know, Jan, that is ironic. It's ironic that tomorrow is April Fool's Day, right? And I don't want you guys to be fools tomorrow. Rashad said, I'm here, bourbon poured. To cause a problem. Listen. So I'm eating in between. I'm starving and decided to get something to eat right as it was time to go live. But glad that you guys are here because I want to just have a real conversation tonight. You are encouraged to participate in the conversation. You can make your comments. You can jump in on the live stream with us. The link is there if you want to jump on camera and have a conversation. But we just want to hear from you. This is it. We've been talking and talking and talking. And it seems like we've been doing that for months now. And tomorrow's a great day to begin our wine segment. And we're going to do that tomorrow, by the way. But we've been talking and talking and talking and talking and talking about this election. And now we are here. It is upon us. And so we thought that we would just have a regular everyday conversation because we believe that's how the election will be decided tomorrow by regular everyday people. I could tell you this, however the election turns out, we'll be here, right? We will be here. We will continue, my caller is messing, we'll continue having our conversations. We will be here, however it turns out. Here's what I believe, though. If you'll go back to that picture, I want to say something. Here's what I believe. Two of the people here will be in the runoff tomorrow. Two of them will be in the runoff. I don't believe, and I may be wrong, it would be a miracle, but I don't believe any one person will win the Democratic nomination without a runoff. It has happened before, absolutely. Remember, Marilyn Monroe did that in 2017, so it has happened. I don't think that'll be the case tomorrow. I would be very surprised if any one candidate pulls it off without a runoff. But my prediction is that two of the guys on your screen now will make it to the runoff. But again, no matter the turnout, we will be right here having our conversations just as always, right? Just as always. And again, we encourage you to not only post your comments here, but if you want to get in on the live stream, you can do that as well. We'll pause now and play the Lumumba video, and then we'll play the Garrett video as well. Both of these guys have supported this show and are seeking the office of mayor.
We know he's gotten things done for Jackson.
Mayor Lumumba has a national profile, which it gives him the ability to do what he did when Jackson was facing the major water crisis.
He got something done. He got close to $1 billion from the federal government to do something that hasn't been done in decades.
He is literally in the best position to help lives, change lives, transform his community for the better, and improve the quality of life.
Mayor Lumumba has been a very consistent person, somebody who is very clearly loves the community that he serves, very clearly loves the people who he serves. He is carrying the needs of Jackson with him.
You have to have a mayor that's going to show up for the people, and Showboy Lumumba shows up for the people every time.
Vote for my man, stop playing.
Yeah. Okay. Right up.
All this money, money, money coming to me. No handouts, I really have to do it for me. Watch me work, watch me work, watch me work. Get out the dirt. All this money, money, money coming to me. No handouts, I really had to do it for me. Watch me work, watch me work, watch me work. Get out the dirt. You ain't hit it, but you never gonna stop me.
All right, and there you have it. All right, tomorrow to the day. So there's so many conversations rolling around in my head. So many things that I want to talk about, but I want to start with the conversation with my mouth full. I want to start with the conversation that I had earlier today. And it was a great conversation. And in fact, I think more conversations like the one that I had in my inbox should be had publicly. But people are afraid to have real, truthful, honest conversations, black and white. People are afraid. People don't know how their comments will be received. People are afraid of how a person will interpret a conversation. But I want to tell you this conversation, or tell you about this conversation as we move through tonight. So, I've been making posts about Northeast Jackson Republicans and all of this, right? And so a young lady reached out to me via my inbox. Jackson resident, white female, an attorney in the city. Reached out, and I want to share her initial outreach, because this will kind of give you a glimpse of how the conversation went today. And we had a long conversation, and at the end, it was absolutely amazing. All right, let's see. So her conversation started like this. Othor, I'm curious as to what you think Jackson's path to being a better city looks like. Fair question. I really respect your take on things, but I have to say, I'm not really liking your current message of racism. You know that I've worked in the city and the county and the state level for 21 years, and I feel like your messaging about Jackson is the same messaging that I was hearing when I first started working in Jackson in 2007. It's disappointing because I feel like Jacksonians need to come together. That may be naive. The current situation isn't working. What is your solution? Genuinely curious because, like I said, I respect your view, but your messaging is divisive and at a time where that will only destroy this city. All right. So that was her initial outreach, and we went around and around, not even around, because around might be a bad illustration, but we had a great conversation. And in true transparency, I put my cards on the line. I understood her viewpoint. We talked about reasonings and to her point about my comments being divisive, and my promoting a narrative of racism. You know what I said to her? I said, if that's how you feel, then you are 100% correct. That's how you feel. If that was your interpretation of it, you are 100% correct. And let me tell you why I said that. I said to her, you're 100% correct because I'm saying out loud what folk like Ben Allen, Jeff Good, and so many others are saying in coded language. I'm just saying it out loud. I'm saying it out loud. I'm calling a spade. I'm showing my hand. I'm putting my cards on the table. I'm simply saying out loud with all these other people, folk that don't even live in Jackson, can't even vote in Jackson, but they're sending these coded messages. Wyatt Emmerich, the publisher of the Northside Sun, putting in print, but still in coded language. I am simply saying out loud what the likes of Jeff Good, Ben Allen, and all these folk are saying via coded Facebook messages, except for Ben's. His are not so coded because he has reeks, of racism. And so that was my first response to her. And then we went around and around, really discussing the situation in Jackson and how Jackson ended up in the condition that it's in. And one of the things that I said was, remove Lumumba from the equation for a moment. Just take it out. Put any face there. Put any blackface there. Remove Lumumba. Since seemingly we're so caught up on all of this stuff happening under Lumumba's administration. So I said, remove Lumumba and put any face there you want. Put anybody there you want. Are you saying to me that since 1994, when Jackson elected its first Black mayor, when the rapid decline really started, are you saying to me that every administration, starting with Harvey Johnson, who in my mind is the standard for Black mayors in this city anyway, are you saying to me that every mayor has been corrupt, incompetent, disingenuous, hiring the wrong people? Are you saying that to me? Are you saying that to me? Because at the end of the day, I maintain that if John Horn has the relationships that he claims that could turn this thing around, drop of a dime, flip of a coin, and he's been at the state capitol for 32 years, he's been there. 32 years with a toolbox labeled Jackson. This is what he's saying to us. He's had this toolbox labeled Jackson, but the tools haven't been used. They're still brand new. They're bright, shiny tools. There's a little dirt on those tools, but you've been there for 32 years. And the only time you parade your Jackson toolbox has been the last 4 times that you've run for mayor. That's the only time you parade your Jackson toolbox. You've paraded your Jackson toolbox 4 times that I know of. And those are the 4 times that you've run for mayor. but you label the Jackson voters as fickle and undereducated. But tomorrow you want Jackson voters to vote for you. So who's voting for John tomorrow? Right? No one's voting for him. Northeast Jackson Republicans and some others, I'm sure. But they are pushing him. Here's what I believe. Well, let me hold that. Let me finish this conversation that I had. So we went there. And we went around and around and around. And I don't mean around and around in a bad, argumentative kind of way. I mean around and around that she shared her points. I shared mine. She was encouraged that I was open and honest. I was encouraged that she reached out to me and we had a real dialogue. And both of us agreed that this is what Jackson needs. We need a real dialogue about how we got in the situation that we're in. And I'm not saying that Lumumba has not kicked the can down the road in some areas. I'm not saying that he's gotten everything right. What I am saying to you is that we cannot lay blame at his feet about all of the ills in Jackson. It's just unfair. It is just absolutely unfair. Vote for who you want to vote for. Support who you want to support, but don't deceive the people, right? And so the conversation was absolutely amazing. And you know what she said at the end? She said, "Thank you, Othor. I wish I could just hug you. I've learned a lot, and I learned from her as well. I've learned a lot through this exchange. I fully understand where you're coming from." Get this, though. She said, "I support and believe what you've said about John Horn. It's too bad, though, that we don't have an alternative." I believe what you said about John. I support what you said. It's too bad we don't have an alternative. And that's what they're trying to do. And in my mind, the alternative, no, they don't have an alternative. So in my mind, John is the person that they want to use to get what they want, right? But our conversation was amazing. And she said what I believe all of them are thinking. Don't really trust John. Don't necessarily want John. But he's all they got. But that's all they got. That's all they got. There's no alternative in their mind. And I think that there are alternatives. I think we have in our top five, either one of them could go in and be mayor. But we just have our own individual hangups. But the conversation was good. We need more black and white conversations like that where people aren't afraid to speak their mind and where we remove feelings, we remove sarcasm, we remove judgment, and we listen intently, right? I think that's what we need. I think that's what we need. We need real conversations that deal with how Jackson got in the situation that it's in, right? When, and so many conversations. And like, let me just talk about Jeff Good and RJ3. I got y'all to answer that in a little bit. Don't want to lose my train of thought here though. But Jeff Good's post comparing Jackson to Las Vegas, ignorant at best. And I love Jeff. And we've disagreed politically before. But Jeff jumps on these bandwagons and he gets lost in the sauce, if we're honest. To write a lengthy post comparing Jackson, Mississippi to Las Vegas, Nevada, My 5th grade nephew would vehemently disagree with that. How can you compare the two? Hey, Kevin, how you doing, brother? How can you compare the two? It makes no sense to attempt to compare a city like Las Vegas with a city like Jackson. There's no way you can frame that conversation and make it make sense. There's just no way. Because you got to deal with the real issues. And he said in his post, for him, it all comes back to leadership. No, those are self-serving interests. So I've just been so incredibly disappointed with so many people this election cycle. And for me, politics don't make you fall out and stop being friends, right? Politics don't make you fall out. Only if you're immature and you have something to hide, and you're disingenuous, do you stop speaking to somebody, or stop interacting with somebody because they have a different view than you. To compare Jackson to Las Vegas is just asinine. And if you believe the comparison that he laid out is true, then I have some swampland that $3 million investors, or 3 investors that want to give $1 million apiece to come in and build a convention center on. They'll start the construction tomorrow. If that's what you believe, it's asinine. Because what Jeff failed to do or articulate in his post is to talk about how we got here and all the things that make a city a touristy city. We got to talk about white flight. We got to talk about the anti-Jackson posture that's at the Capitol. And that anti-Jackson posture and anti-Jackson sentiment didn't start with Mayor Lumumba. It did not. It did not. This CCID district, this conversation was happening during Harvey's administration. So it didn't start with him. Yes, he has some blame. He has to take on some blame. Absolutely he does. But I think it's disingenuous to attempt to lay all of these problems at its feet. And it's also extremely deceitful and disingenuous to say that these problems are a result of the bribery scandal or whatever the scandal is that these people are going through now. I think that's disingenuous. It is absurd. It's just downright absurd for real. And it's unfortunate that people that we like and people that hold a space of influence, they are sharing these messages. And then I went on Nextdoor tonight prior to coming on. And I hardly ever go on Nextdoor, but I said, let me just peruse Nextdoor and see what's up. And there was this guy who said, imagine that it was 2029 and the city is steadily going down because of a third Lumumba administration, because of a third term Lumumba administration. The city is just steadily declining. Your property value has gone down. He said 10,000 more people have left the city. He said, and then he said, you'll be responsible for that if you re-elect Chokwe Lumumba. This is the same guy who created this fake poll and said that John Horn was up 64%. Anybody in their right mind can count. Anybody in their right mind know that's a lie. This guy had to come back and say, well, this poll is not scientific. People on Nextdoor voted, people on with the internet voted, and people can stack. Duh, you think? the respondents to his post, several of them said they were voting for Tim Henderson. Let me tell you something. I think the idea is to create this narrative and share this narrative over and over and over and over and over again until you believe it. You know, when they taught us in sales, repetitiveness sells, right? And so if you say something over and 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 over again, then perhaps it will be in your psyche and you will believe it. Who knows Tim Henderson? And so what I extracted from that, because I saw a couple of other posts and I've had so many conversations, Damari can't get here soon enough. But what I extracted from that, I think they want to get Tim Henderson and John Horn in a runoff so that they could fully and publicly endorse John. Right now, they're sending coded messages and got so many new variation of the N-word now. It's scary, right? So I think that they want to get Tim and John in a runoff so that they can publicly say and throw their support behind John. Conversation I was telling you about earlier about the young lady that I had to dialogue with in my inbox. She said it best. She said, "Othor, I believe you. I believe everything you said about John Horn. Sadly, we don't have an alternative." I have never seen the state legislature and all these folk come out so boldly. I happen to think Ashby Foote is going to be the sacrificial lamb in Ward 1 for going independent and trying to make the way easy for all of Northeast Jackson Republicans to vote in the Democratic primary. And they boldly say, "You're wasting your vote." And to that, I understand about wasting your vote voting Republican. But Mississippi is an open primary state, so they could have always done that. I just don't think the tactics are going to work. And so you have, and then I read Brad Franklin's piece today, which was spot on. And I extracted from that. I extracted from that because it was so closely related to another post that I saw on Nextdoor. And let me just go and put it out there like this. This guy said, "Yeah, Jen, I think Foote is out of here this time." But this guy said on Nextdoor, "Can y'all just tell me what's so wrong, what's so bad about Lumumba?" He was like, what are y'all talking about? What's so wrong? What's so bad? So white guy, what's so wrong? What's so bad? And so people started saying different things. But this one white lady said, the better question should be not necessarily what's so bad about Lumumba, but what is so bad about keeping Lumumba. And you know what she said? And I'm telling you, the truth is coming out. You know what she said? And if you don't believe me, get on Nextdoor and find it. She said the better question is not what's so bad about Lumumba. The better question should be what's so bad about keeping Lumumba. Her response to that was, we need a mayor that can work with the state. We need a mayor that will give the state the airport and the land around it, because that is where Jackson will make money, and that's where money will come into Jackson. We need a mayor that will give the airport away. This is why they're supporting John Horn. We need a mayor that will give the airport away and the surrounding land because that's where Jackson can make money if they do that. She said this. She posted this, rather. This is why they want John Horn, because Jackson will be carte blanche with the Horn administration. And I don't care who's supporting him. I don't care about that. What I care about is what the voters will decide. So her post on Nextdoor mirrored Brad Franklin's post earlier today, of which I agreed with 100%. These are sad times that we're in. And not sad because the city of Jackson is destitute. Not at all. Not sad because if we keep Lumumba, the city is gonna fall in the river. But sad because we're having this level of a conversation. Because we're having this level of a conversation. So it has become abundantly clear that they are pushing John Horn, because the doors, you know what they say in the Baptist church, the doors of the church are now open. The doors of the city will be open for the state to walk right in and lay claim and handpick everything that they want. That is why I cannot support Joe. And I said, in my conversation earlier with the young lady in inbox, that John has a trust issue amongst everyday Black voters. He cannot relate to the average Black voter, because after all, remember, we're fickle and we're undereducated, right? We're fickle and we're undereducated. And he wants us to accept crumbs, according to him. So, we've got a job to do tomorrow. We've got a job to do tomorrow. All right, so these comments were going so fast while I was talking, so I want to go back and pull some of them in so that we can break it down. Seems like Robert has been making some comments. Thanks, Jan. I appreciate you. Y'all, tomorrow is important. Tomorrow is important. You can fall for these coded Facebook messages if you want to. But I would encourage you, just don't be Northeast Jackson fools tomorrow. Right? Don't do it. Don't do it. So if you made a comment and I did not address it, if you want to put it back or retype it, I'll certainly entertain that. I just did not want to lose the thought. Tomorrow's important, folks. We've got to get it. We've got to get to the polls. We've got to get to the polls. All right, so RJ3 says, can I ask a question? With it being in the last hour, who would you endorse? And that's a great question. And so, because I think that my top five was a good choice, right? Because I think my top five was a good choice. Of the top five, I know that I will not vote for Horn. I don't know if I would endorse any one somebody, but I'm gonna tell you where I am on the verge because of all of the unfair blame that Lumumba is getting, because of all the unfair blame and because of all the blatant racism, that's being spewed, and they want to mask it as it isn't. I lean towards him. I lean towards him. Because it's unfair to lay all of this stuff at his feet. Support who you want to support. Just tell the truth. Don't try to sway. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. That's all I'm saying. Somebody asked, how long has John Horn been in the state legislature? 32 years. And he only brings out his Jackson toolbox when he decides to run for mayor. 32 years. Rashad, I'm with you. Rashad says, I don't know if the lady on next door is from Jackson or not. I did not and should have investigated that, but I don't know. I don't know. Rashad says, I've never been as conflicted, confused with a local election since I've been voting since 1999. We're living in some wild times. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm with you. It's a lot to decide. It's a lot to decide. A lot to decide. A lot to decide. A lot to decide. Support who you want to support, but don't place unfair blame. Has Lumumba had a perfect administration? Absolutely not. But who has? Who has? And a part of that conversation with a young lady in my inbox, she said, she talked about the corruption, she talked about hiring practices, she talked about contracts, of which I totally understood it all, and we went back and forth with that. But again, I asked, what about all of the other administrations? Have they all been corrupt? Have they all been filled with folk giving out bad contracts? Come on, man. What I said was he's not been perfect, but I can guarantee he's been fighting, and I can guarantee you the state will not come in and just snatch the city away with him in the driver's seat. Just won't happen. And that's important to me. That's important to me. Jeremy says they mad at Lumumba for influence of a very long, for inheritance of a very long problem in Jackson. That's misappropriation and prior failures, but it's all his fault now. Thing is, how can he sit down with the state when they want him to sell Jackson out and he won't? That's the only reason. I agree. He's not going to sell Jackson out. And that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong. He's not going to sell this city out. He's not. And a part of, I've had so many conversations there. One part of an LFA conversation, can't remember which one it was. It was like, when Trump came to town as the mayor of the city, he should have met with Trump. And I would tell you that, yes, first term then, because as a sitting mayor, just because of the position, you respect the position, yes. So I would say, yes, he should have done that then. But I understood his reasons why he didn't. But as a mayor, he should have. But if he came to town now, I would say, hell no, I wouldn't sit with him. I don't care about him being the president. Because look at what he's doing to us. And Trump has emblazoned these people in Jackson. Trump has emblazoned these people in Jackson. Ben Allen is coming up with all kinds of substitute words to replace the N word. So today's word was the wilderness. So we're like animals living in the wilderness. That was his word today. There you go. He said to our producer, Dr. J, he said, and this was on Ben Allen, this was on Jeff Good's thread. He said, once again, the wilderness blames it on the white man. Check out our suburbs, educational facilities, and ratings if you want to bring up black flight. I served with Harvey Johnson for 8 years. I could write you a book regarding racism, but not your type. I bet you can write a book about racism, but I grant you it won't tell the real story. It would be one-sided. Right? I bet you can. So the wilderness blaming the white man, and I'm just going to say it. I think a vote for John Horn is a vote of support for Ben Allen. Jamar said, Jamar says Horn's biggest accomplishment is a supporting role in the 1984 miniseries about the public library system. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. Rashad, he did delete it so fast, but man, folk are Johnny on the spot. Folk are Johnny on the spot. So now Ben Allen's new N word is the wilderness. And I'm telling you, I believe a vote for John Horn, you are supporting the racist rhetoric of Ben Allen. Oh, Robert, yes, he absolutely said it. He absolutely said it. He absolutely posted it. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. And so, folks, let me just say it to you. Tomorrow is important. This isn't about Chokwe Antar Lumumba. This isn't about Chokwe Antar Lumumba. This is about a takeover of the city of Jackson. It's not an anti-Chokwe Lumumba sentiment. This is about this city. This election is bigger than any one person. Nathan says, but it's fair to say that none of the prior administrations have laid down and not tried. The impasse comes with the stalemate of progress, that is the city council. Tit for tat, politics from word to word will only slow progress. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Like, I disagree vehemently on some of the ways that Mayor Lumumba handled some things, like the garbage contract, right? And like keeping James Davis for far too long as police chief, right? Like the water. So I agree with the mishandling of that from my perspective. What I will not give in to and cave is that the water was his problem. The state has not sufficiently funded this capital city since Harvey Johnson was mayor, right? Since Harvey Johnson was mayor. So we just got to be honest about that. We've just got to be honest. We've just got to be honest about that. We've got to be honest about that. This isn't about Chokwe Antar Lumumba. It's about a takeover of the city. And we believe, I fervently believe, that John Horn is the candidate of choice because Jeff is looking out for his business. This opened the doors for a state takeover. I don't know, Jeremy, where you got that info. Harvey messed the money up for the water too, from what I have gotten. I wasn't in Jackson. Yeah, I think that information you got is kind of bad. I think at the end of the day, what money did Harvey get? He didn't get federal dollars. What money did he get? The state certainly wasn't contributing. So I like to dig into that one a little bit more. I think that may be some erroneous information. But what I can tell you is this state has not sufficiently funded the capital city. Now, all of a sudden, the capital city is everybody's capital city, and everybody benefits from Jackson. Everybody should feel safe in Jackson. Jackson should be doing this, and Jackson should be doing that. All of a sudden, now Jackson, because they got them a candidate who would say the doors of the city are open. It has been underfunded on purpose. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you got a decision to make. You've got a decision to make. Yeah, Jackson. That's right, Nathan. Jackson is another code word because it's not about Chokwe and Tolomo, but Jackson is another code word for the N word. It's not about that. Everybody knows that I am in Jeff Good's establishment 3 or 4 times a week. Love them all, right? We just happen to disagree vehemently in this space because I know he's being used. And sometimes Jeff connects himself to a wheel that ain't rolling. Right? A lot is at stake. What happens when Ted Hennepin leaves? That's at stake. What happens with the airport? That's at stake. What happens to Smith Wheel Stadium? That's at stake. If the state wanted to help Jackson, it matters not who's sitting in the driver's seat in Jackson. If they were really concerned about Jackson. Tomorrow is April Fool's Day. Don't be no fool. All right? Tomorrow's April Fool's Day. Don't be no fool. Don't do it. Don't do it. Ever wonder why mayors in our surrounding communities can stay in office for so long, except for the black ones? Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, RJ3. Ever wonder why the mayor in Madison can stay in office for so long, even with all of the issues? Resources. Okay, tomorrow being April Fool's and Election Day doesn't suit. I know. Don't be Northeast Jackson Republican fools tomorrow. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. The joke is going to be on you. Don't do it. But Mayor Mary can stay in office for forever. Resources is one of them, but they protect their own. That's the real thing. And when Mayor Fisher and Clinton decided that he wasn't going to run again, he didn't have 1,000 people come out of the woodworks to run for that seat. One person. One person. And he wins by default. I'm following the mayor's race in Birmingham. Maybe 3 or 4 people have signed up. Come on, good people. Come on, people. I promise you, though, after tomorrow, I am following Canton's politics more closely. So I'm waiting until tomorrow to study the results. Then I'm going head in on what's happening in Canton. J. Marr says they can stay in office because all of their citizens come to Jackson for employment and take those dollars back to those communities. Absolutely. 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 We got a job to do. Let's get it done tomorrow. We'll be right back here at 8 o'clock tomorrow to do an election. Well, I won't say recap because all of the votes won't be tallied by 8 o'clock, but we'll talk about how the day went. Yeah, because we have to get to it. Exit 119. Yeah, I'm committed to doing that after tomorrow. I'm committed to getting in Canton and get fully vested there on the political scene again. We got to do it because there's some things going on. We need to talk about those things in Canton as well. That's all I got. Unless you got more comments, questions, I'll take them. We got a couple of minutes. If you got another comment, we'll take it. I appreciate you, brother. Good night to you too, man. RJ3, we appreciate you. Nothing but love and respect for you, my brother. All right, good people. Tomorrow's today. Don't let the joke be on you. Don't let the joke be on you. Nathan, you mean Gluckstack North exit 119, my brother. 119. That's right. That's right. Go a little further north until you get to 119. Go a little further north until you get to 119. All right, so we're gonna start our. I think tomorrow is perfect. April 1st is perfect to start our wine series tomorrow. So we will get that done as well. Thank y'all for being here. We're gonna end it with our two spots. And we're gonna call it a night. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Right up. All this money, money, money coming to me. No handouts, I really have to do it for me. Watch me work. Watch me work. Watch me work. Get out the dirt. All this money, money, money coming to me. No handouts, I really have to do it for me. Watch me work. Watch me work. Watch me work. Get out the dirt. You ain't hit it, but you never gonna stop me.
We know he's gotten things done for Jackson.
Mayor Lumumba has a national profile, which it gives him the ability to do what he did when Jackson was facing the major water crisis.
He got something done. He got close to $1 billion from the federal government to do something that hasn't been done in decades.
He is literally in the best position to help lives, change lives, transform his community for the better, and improve the quality of life.
Mayor Lumumba has been a very consistent person, somebody who is very clearly loves the community that he serves, very clearly loves the people who he serves. He is carrying the needs of Jackson with him.
You have to have a mayor that's going to show up for the people, and Chauffeur Lumumba shows up for the people every time.
Both of my man, stop playing.
Good deal.